This might look like I'm going on a bit of a bushwalk, and I'm doing that, but I'm also going on a religious pilgrimage. There's a road up the mountain, and there are buildings that we can see, but then there are other buildings that are hidden beneath the trees. If you walk far enough and high enough up the mountain and deep enough, you'll get to these walls, and that's when you've arrived at the temple. This is the most substantial part of the ruins. This is the central part of the main building, the main hut. This is the hearth, the fireplace, and the chimney would have gone up there, but it's fallen down the hill. Apparently this hut here, or the walls over there, was 2 stories high. The first story, and then there was one above me. By the looks of it, it was about here. I'm not completely sure. Here on the ground I found our old Cascade apple juice tin can, not aluminium. Interestingly, there are these glass bottles everywhere. They're all over the place. IXL bottles with lids on them. Obviously they're for water, but why there's so many? Well, I think I figured it out. There was a primitive plumbing system here. I'll just show you where it was. So what we're looking at here is another one of these terrace walls. It's covered in moss, and it's really starting to blend in with the mountain, the natural landscape of the mountain. What we're more interested in is what's on the other side of this wall. So I'm down here in this big hole, and it's sort of filled in with plant matter and dirt and all sorts of stuff. Twigs, bits of bark. But here, there's a big bit of pipe. And that's because water was being collected here through the rain flowing down the mountain. And this pipe led down the hill, down through the terraces to be collected further on. It's quite clever, really, but I don't know how well it worked. Coming down from the top terrace, we come to this. It's a tap and it turns, but of course no water comes out. There's no water up there in the pond above. And there's none in this one either. They're all empty, very much so. Interestingly, it's not the last tap. There's another one further down where most of the actual living was done. But it's all pretty complicated. There's a series of cascading reservoirs leading to a central living location. A lot of effort and a lot of time and labour had been put into this location. And it's just come to this. There's nothing left. So this is down on what I would sort of consider to be the main terrace. And this is where the pipe seems to come out. There are all these bottles here. This one's a Cascade one. And this is where the water bottles would have been filled up for drinking. There's all sorts of piping too. It's this old bit of rubber hose. The more you look around, the more you can actually imagine somebody living here. And not just living here, but really enjoying being here. The person who retreated here was said to be of Ukrainian descent, and he was a hermit, and his name was Victor. There's uncertainty about how much of Victor's hut was actually built by him. Some claim that the terraces predate Victor's arrival, that they may have, in fact, belonged to a long-lost logging operation, and that he happened upon the location after the mountain burnt down in 1967. Up here on one of the higher terraces, there's all sorts of different things that a person might want to check out. There's all this corrugated building material that's been heaped together. That would have formed roofs, maybe of a lean-to or of the actual hut itself. I don't know. But what's really interesting that's here are these things. Pine trees. They don't belong up here on the mountain. They were planted, they're in a row, and then there's another row further back there. They don't belong here, but they are here, and they're not going anywhere. But for a person trying to find this place, that'd be one of the things you'd be looking for. Victor, however, was certainly responsible for introducing all of the flora and for any of the wooden structures, such as the main living hut. Bushwalkers who came across the place in the 1970s reported many things: a cultivated garden,
including strawberries, 2 beehives, vegetable patches, roses, and small pine trees. Pines that have today grown giant and can be seen from afar, a darker shade of green to all of the other trees on the mountain. Illegally erected, Victor's hut was one day burnt down. Some suspected that authorities had lit the match to make him leave. Others feel that it was arsonist vandals doing it for fun. It was called the temple for a reason. Victor was supposedly a member of the Theosophical Society. The buildings were decorated in a variety of religious iconography that would change from time to time. What became of Victor after he left is something of a mystery. Some say he returned to Ukraine, others say he moved up to Queensland. There are rare photos of the temple. 2 figures standing in front of a hut, above the door a Sanskrit sign. But he left a message on one of the walls for future pilgrims visiting in his absence. Greetings to all. Thank you, my friends, brothers and sisters, that you brought here everlasting love and honesty. More love to you, brothers, for burned this place. God bless you all. With love, Victor.